was me, I would like to be the best to ever play the game.
Let's get right to this. Hold up. About to score right here, Tom.
Jukes the defender and score.
Focus on the Lord. If you say the game, you can forfeit. We back to trophies, but I get trophies.
Well, we won't see Dak Prescott tonight against Arizona. We expect to see Kyler Murray. The 2019 first overall pick is slated to see some action against the Cowboys, the team he grew up closest to in Bedford, Texas. It's a huge year for not just Murray, but the Cardinals, too, as their playoff aspirations all over Arizona. The Cardinals offense got off to a hot start last season, ranking 6th in the league in points per game and 1st in yards per game through Week 9. But over the team's final 8 games, Arizona's offense struggled, falling to 22nd in points per game and 17th in yards per game. All eyes are on Kingsbury and Murray as they enter year 3 together. But Marcus, how does Kyler Murray take that next step and turn these words into production on the field?
Babyface, y'all listen to me clearly. Operation from the pocket is what I want to see from Kyler Murray. I'm not saying Kyler Murray don't use your athleticism. I'm not saying don't be that dynamic guy with the ball in your hands before everybody go crazy. But when he was hampered a little bit with injury last year, I had questions about if he could stand in and consistently deliver the ball. We know Kyler can throw. We know he can make the throws, the arm strength, and all of that. But when your game is limited, like it will be for mobile quarterbacks at times in the NFL, can you be highly effective pushing the ball down the field? And I don't see a reason why he can't be with all of them damn weapons he gonna have on the outside. Arguably the best wide receiver as his number 1 guy as well, and D-Hop. So when you think about, like, we nitpicking at this point, I think Kyler is going to be a superstar. I was worried about the stature. I had never seen it take hold in this league and really ascend. But some of the things that he did, I have to pay attention to it and know that this league is different in this day and age than when I played. But I do want to see if he's ever limited or if he has to deal from the pocket strictly. Can he do it at a high enough level to keep this team in contention? If so, Kyler Murray will one day be a league MVP.
Yeah, and we better see that tonight, Marcus, because if Kyler Murray is running a design carry in the preseason, they got to take Cliff's clipboard away on the spot. But speaking of Cliff Kingsbury, what was frustrating at times watching the Cardinals offense, especially as they struggled as the season went on, was the lack of diversity in the passing attack. It felt like it was always, okay, hurry up, go, line up, run the same routes. Okay, hurry up, go, run the same routes. And the usage of DeAndre Hopkins in particular was frustrating. You and I talked about it before the show today. They just stuck him on the left side of the field. I mean, look at this, right?
Amazing.
And that's in stark contrast, by the way, to how he was used in Houston, where he was lined up all over in the slot on the right side as well. That needs to change this season. To me, I like the weapons in Arizona. You mentioned some of them. I love Rondale Moore as a draft pick. But if Cliff can't scheme them open, what's the point? And that's going to stunt the development of Kyler Murray as a passer, which, as you mentioned, is pretty much the most important thing about this season for the Cardinals offense.
That's a great point by Mina, because listen, here's the reality. Cliff Kingsbury, he was sold as an offensive guru, offensive mind, right? Well, his college record, not that impressive, 35-40. In the NFL, the team went 5-10-1, then it went 8-8. But it wasn't just going 8-8. It was starting off good, and then they just kind of fall flat as the season goes on. And you look around, and I think Kyler masks a lot of issues that a coach might have, or a team might have, a roster might have. They've got weapons. So this season, if the Cardinals don't make the playoffs, and not outside of injuries, if they don't make the playoffs, you got to look around and wonder, should Cliff be here? He is on the hot seat because Kyler, everybody believes in Kyler. It's the coach that worries a lot of people within the league.
Well, speaking of being on the hot seat, we got to put Marcus's remote setup on the hot seat. Weather got him once again, so we're a three-person gang for the rest of the show. Mina, go ahead. Just take it away.
I want to be clear. I was not smiling at Kimberly's statement about Cliff being on the hot seat. I was smiling when I realized that Marcus Spears was clearly frozen. Like DeAndre Hopkins, don't freeze Marcus Spears. Let him loose. I think just talking a little bit about the Cardinals offense, so I would like to see, I mentioned I'd like to see more diversity in the passing attack. Another thing I'd like to see is a power running game, because something you saw last year with Arizona, the way defenses were playing them, obviously Kyler plays a lot of zone because you're not going to play man defense and turn your back on Kyler Murray, right? But he was also playing a lot of, the Cardinals were playing a lot of light boxes. The defenses playing Arizona would put a lot of speed on the field, lighter defenders, and really opened up the possibility of a power running game in the same way you see in Baltimore at times as a counterpunch to when defenses try to contain the mobile quarterback. When that's available to them, as it was last year, they got to be able to run the football. You know, we talked about the trades for J.J. Watt and the addition of A.J. Green, but to me, one of the most impactful trades made in the entire offseason was the trade for Rodney Hudson, the center. That is a game changer. He's one of the best centers in the NFL, and I think he can really enable a different Cardinals run game on the inside.
Yeah, as of right now, it looks like Chase Edmonds and James Conner are vying for the most duties out of that backfield behind that reshaped offensive line. Marcus, I believe we have Marcus Spears back. The man bounces back faster than anybody else here on NFL Live. So if we do have Swagoo, the other side of that game, Swagoo, you bring us so much joy. The other side of that game is, of course, your Cowboys. What are you watching for in their second preseason game?
Defense, babyface. And I want to see if Micah Parsons can continue this trend. They'll be challenged more by this offense. And when we think about the Dallas Cowboys, obviously that's the number one question is how will these guys look from a defensive standpoint? And more importantly, the back end, right? This is a part of coverage. And Micah Parsons being the rookie, being the guy that flashed all Hall of Fame game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, was chomping at the bit with Dan Quinn to get back in the game to get more plays. If Kyler breaks out, which he shouldn't, which I'm on board with Mina, if Kyler run, I'm going crazy. But if he does, I want to see if 11 can get there. More grasp of what they're doing defensively. One of the things that we talked about last year with Mike Nolan being the defensive coordinator is players being confused about what their jobs were on this Dallas Cowboy defense. Yeah. Last week, it looked like they were able to play fast. Everybody had a clear understanding of what they needed to do. That trend needs to continue. And then on those outsides, I want to see those corners make some plays, man, because if you're getting chewed up on the back end, it's a problem. And I just have so many things, because it's the Cowboys, y'all, I want to see. And if this damn storm don't stop freezing me up, I'm going to be very upset on the last day before we consistently get in the studio. Good vibes only. Good vibes.
Well, it's about time for some good vibes out of that Dallas Cowboys defense. Certainly feels like all the good vibes are emanating from Dan Quinn, who has been one of the big additions in their defense this offseason. Of course, you can watch the Cowboys on Hard Knocks. And you can watch NFL Live every week. The games continue. Preseason football rolls along with another 3 games on the menu this Friday night. The Julio Jones Bowl, if you will, takes place as the Falcons host the Titans, while the Lions kick off their preseason against the Buffalo Bills. No Josh Allen in that game. Mitch Trubisky time instead. And the Dakless Dallas Cowboys travel to Arizona. It's their second preseason game after playing in the Hall of Fame game already. Kyler Murray will be in action. And with the scene set, we say hello and welcome in to this edition of NFL Live. We have a huge weekend of preseason action ahead, 14 more games to go, and we have the perfect crew to break it all down from left to right, as you can see. Marcus Spears, Mina KImes, and Kimberly Martin. I am Field Yates, and we'll reflect on some thoughts about what we thought about the 2 games on Thursday night. Well, let's start by looking ahead to Friday night's action. Swagoo, what's one thing you've got your eyes on tonight?
Yeah, baby face. I'm looking at Kyler Murray and also Micah Parsons. But I want to see Kyler Murray operate from the pocket a little bit better. He was hampered by injury last year, and I didn't get a chance to see him operate just being stationary. And then Micah Parsons in his debut last week all over the place against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both of these guys, I hope and pray that Kyler doesn't take off running. But if he does, I want to see if number 11, Micah Parsons, can get after him.
Field, I'll be watching to see how Jared Goff looks behind Penei Sewell, number 7 overall pick, who's under a lot of pressure given that Detroit took him instead of drafting a quarterback. He's also making a transition from the left to the right side. This is an excellent offensive line we're going to talk about later in the show, and I'm excited to watch it in action tonight. Field. All eyes will be on Kyle Pitts, including mine. We talked all offseason about Julio Jones no longer being in Atlanta, but Kyle Pitts, arguably the top prospect in this year's draft class who wasn't a QB, so I'm excited to see him ball out. Some 2 tight end sets, maybe some Hayden Hurst action. I just need a little taste of what Kyle Pitts can do in the NFL.
That's what's ahead tonight, but we also got a glimpse into the Patriots quarterback situation last night, as the much-anticipated matchup featuring the Patriots and the Washington football team was anticipated because of this guy, Cam Newton, and the heir apparent, Mac Jones. Let's go to the...
We're going to be here for each other along this whole process, and, that's what we're here for.
Love the leadership from Cam right there. Mina, I'll start with you. What did you make of Mac Jones' performance last night in his Patriots debut?
I thought he looked sharp. To me, last night was almost less about what Mac did and more about how he was used. Coming out of the half, running the hurry up. The fact that they left in the Patriots starting offensive line to play in front of me, that tells me that Bill Belichick is in information gathering mode. He wants to see if Mac Jones can actually be the starter. And while there were a lot of checkdowns and short routes, you did see earlier he threw a really nice deep ball that probably should have been caught. He executed the offense. He had mastery of it. And this is, to me, the most important thing. He got the ball out super quick. 2.53 second time to throw. That would have ranked 6th in the NFL last year, to give you a frame of reference. If he can do all of those things in the regular season, he can win football games. And while it's premature to declare him the winner of the quarterback competition, I think the Patriots have to like what they saw last night.
Yeah, Mina, to that point, it was a perfect showing. But even with Cam, you look at this situation, I firmly believe that Bill Belichick would prefer Cam win this job and have the opportunity to play along with what they did this offseason. And Cam didn't look bad. Both of these guys did what they needed to do. Outside of the sack fumble, Cam has to hold on to that one, but Isaiah Wynn got to at least give him a chance in that particular situation. But if you look at what they did, efficiency is what we talked about. The efficient play of the quarterback, that's what you need to be for the New England Patriots. The expectation is not for you to go out there and throw for 350 or 400 yards. It's a plus, it's an added, it's a bonus. Take care of the football, which both of them did. Cam did as well. And make sure that you get the ball out of your hands in a timely fashion to continue to move the chains. I thought both of them did a really good job. Cam just adds that element to what you need when trouble comes. And I'm interested to see Daniel Jones against the type of pressure that Cam will face against the ones, to see if he can evade and continue to make plays. But both of them look good. I still believe Cam is the front runner to start, but Mac Jones made a nice play last night with his poise, his understanding of what Josh McDaniels wanted him to do. It was an impressive performance from both of them in my book.
So, guys, watching that game, I had one thought. The Mac Jones era has begun. And I only say that not because I don't think Cam will still be the starter, or that I don't think Cam should be the starter. But what I found interesting, what he did, signaled he was going to be the future. It's just a matter of when he was actually going to get on the field. And what we saw last night was that he was poised. The moment was not too big. He was efficient. He was quick with his passes. And even the graphics that we use when we compare Mac and Cam, you see Mac, he's getting ready to throw. You see Cam is either taking off with the ball and he's running, or he's Mac looked like what we've been used to when we watched the Patriots for so long, the Josh McDaniels offense. So I think it's just a matter of time before Mac is on the field as a starter.
Yeah, well, whether words are just words in this scenario, it feels like the Patriots have a healthy dynamic in their quarterback room. Cam Newton knows exactly where he stands and is taking on this mentoring role rather seriously with Mac Jones. Maybe eventually it will be Mac's time. Hey, we're just getting started here on NFL Live. We've got so much more to come, including Kyle Pitts playing in his first pro game. Is it too much to ask for 9 touchdowns? We'll give you reasonable expectations. And the offense does have some question marks, but is he enough? We'll let you know exactly about that. Plus, The Lions open up their preseason against the Bills tonight. We'll get our first look at Jared Goff.
Stick my head through. That was awesome. On the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
One is objecting to miking up Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, forever. So Dan Campbell and his quarterback Jared Goff are both making their debut in Detroit tonight, but ESPN's Football Power Index doesn't have high expectations for the Lions. Detroit has the second lowest percent chance to make the playoffs this season at 7%, only ahead of the Houston Texans. All right, Mina, you know Jared Goff well. Of course, Mina, part of the Rams preseason broadcast booth. Cannot wait for tomorrow night. What are you looking to see out of Jared Goff now in Detroit?
Well, Field, I'm looking to see how Jared responds to what I think is the best thing he's got going for him in Detroit, which is that he gets to play behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You know, we talk about this team correctly like they're a rebuilding program, and that's fair, and it's fair to criticize the skill players, although I think there's some sneaky good names there. But when you look at this offensive line from left to right, it's really strong, right? Obviously, Taylor Decker has been fantastic. Frank Ragnow, one of the best centers in football. They drafted Penei Sewell, who I mentioned earlier, to man the right side. That's not only a really solid group, it's really important for Goff, because part of the reason he was traded, part of the reason he struggled at the end in Los Angeles was how much he struggled under pressure. The splits were extremely dramatic when he was kept clean versus when he was hassled by defenders. And if this if this offensive line in Detroit is as good as it should be, I actually think he could perform better than some people think, because when he is kept clean and when he does have time, he is quite accurate.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing if Jared Goff can lift the team. Listen, y'all know me. I'm on record. I don't trust him. And a lot of that had to do with seeing him under pressure and not be able to respond consistently. To your point, MK, but when you look at Detroit, obviously you look at their schedule and what it's been for so many years, you think about the polar opposite, right? We got Matthew Stafford going over with Sean McVay, and we got Jared Goff going over with crazy Dan Campbell, my former teammate. But when you think about Jared Goff in this particular situation, there's two things that come to mind for me. Is Jared Goff a better quarterback than I thought, because he's going to go through some hell this year playing with the Detroit Lions? And you are absolutely right about this offensive line. But can he lift a team out of certain situations, right? Sean McVay got so much praise about his offensive prowess and the way he set guys up, and that offense was very difficult to stop. You could have put anybody back there and had them operate at a very high level. And Sean McVay even alluded to the fact that Jared Goff at times didn't give him enough to overcome play calling. So now he is in Detroit. We know damn well he's going to have to overcome some play calling. I want to see if he can lift the team from the quarterback spot.
Yeah, Marcus, it almost feels like, to the points both of you are making, the calculus for this trade was the Rams felt like Jared Goff couldn't raise their ceiling enough, where the Lions feel like he can raise their floor a little bit. They don't make any, mistakes about where they're headed this year. It's not the Super Bowl, but more respectable than maybe some people imagined they could be this year. All right, so from the Lions to the Falcons, as Kyle Pitts broke the quarterback streak to begin the 2021 NFL Draft, as Atlanta used the 4th overall pick on the Swiss Army knife out of Florida. Now, Pitts may have been the highest drafted tight end in the common draft era, but he was much more than that at Florida. In his final season with the Gators, 48% of Pitts' routes came while in line, while 30% came from the slot, and 22 came way out wide. He was also the definition of a playmaker with, how about this, 91% of his receptions resulting in either a first down or a touchdown. Wow. He's ridiculous, Swagoo, and there are probably a lot of ways you can go with this. But what are you most excited to see out of Kyle Pitts tonight?
I want to see if Kyle Pitts is going to continue the trend he had it going at Florida, where he destroyed matchups. And when I think about last night, right, I think about Ryan Fitzpatrick when he threw to Logan Thomas. And Logan just big body, ability to turn around and catch the ball. We saw Kyle Pitts do that over and over and over again at Florida. We know that you cannot cover him with a linebacker or a safety based on what we have, the intelligence we have right now. And then I want to see if they're going to move him around at all. Like, will he move different positions? Will Arthur Smith try to create those matchup nightmares that you can get from having these tight ends? I fully expect Kyle Pitts to be in the conversation with Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, as far as a pass-catching tight end by season's end. I'm excited to see him in his debut, and I want to see if he's going to start this thing off, taking advantage of them little dudes that's going to be trying to cover it.
I can't wipe this stupid smile off my face. I'm so excited to watch Kyle Pitts in the NFL.
I know,
Marcus
right?
made a really good point there about how he's utilized, whether he's split out wide, are we going to see him blocking in line? Because we've been speculating, okay, Arthur Smith is coming to Atlanta. Does that mean he's going to bring the Tennessee offense with him? How is Kyle Pitts going to be utilized? Because in my mind, he actually could be used more like A.J. Brown than Jonnu Smith, right, given some of his traits. And then that leaves, okay, well then how is Calvin Ridley used? Is he more of the Corey Davis Z receiver role where he's running those deep overs? We won't know, frankly, until those players are actually on the field. Now, I don't expect Arthur Smith to reveal all of his plans and intentions in the preseason, but it'll be our first glimpse of what this offense looks like, and it has the potential to be one of the more explosive offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. It's not often you can say a team that trades away Julio Jones still can be extremely explosive, but there are plenty of pieces in place for Atlanta to be extremely explosive. All right, again, we still have so much more to come here on NFL Live. As we know, the learning curve is going to be steep for any young quarterback, including Jalen Hurts. Will the Eagles be able to help him learn from last night's loss?
Coming out there and, for the most part, executing,
New Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, but all eyes were on his second-year quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Let's take a look at how it unfolded for Hurts. And Hurts starts out of the shotgun, finds Dallas Goedert, their third-year tight end. Could be a breakout player this season for a big 34-yard gain. Nice run after the catch right there by the powerful Dallas Goedert. Again, Hurts, this time throwing right to Jalen Reagor. Can't come up with the catch. Unfortunately for Reagor, the struggles have continued. Here's Jalen Hurts to steal the Eagles tight end Zach Ertz. Come on, man, make that catch. And then finally, here we go, Jalen Hurts to once again Zach Ertz. That one is good for a first down. Hurts finished the game 3 of 7 for 54 yards. All right, Marcus, when you watched Jalen Hurts last night, did his performance tell you something specific about his outlook?
It did, Phil, and it told me that he's the starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And when you think about, and look, Joe Flacco played well. Like, I don't want to leave that out. Flacco looked fine as far as a veteran presence of a guy that can come in and you not, go all the way down the tank. Sirianni impressed me, too, with using Jalen's ability and giving him the type of throws that you give an athletic quarterback and giving him outs. The one comeback to Jalen Reagor, you want to see that pass completed. You want to see a better ball. But all in all, we talk about delivery and we talk about all these things with quarterback. The bottom line is, are you getting the damn job done? And last night, to me, it looked like Jalen Hurts has the ability to get the job done. Not only that, using his tight ends, using checkdowns. Like, that's the most important thing for quarterbacks when they just getting started in their career. Understand that every play, not a big play. And I thought he did a phenomenal job with that. It's almost in the same vein of where we saw Dak and some of the thought process. Could he develop? The one thing Jalen Hurts has done, before I pass the mic, has gotten better under coaching every time it's been available. And I think he's going to continue to do that under Sirianni if Sirianni has the goods that we think he has.
All right, I'm going to take that mic, and I'm going to use it to talk about Quez Watkins, which this is such a classic preseason chump move, right? To fall in love with the late-round draft pick because he performs well later against backups. But come on, look at this guy. Look at the speed he has there getting away from the Steelers defenders. Like, I might be a chump, but pack my bags because I'm boarding this hype train. And it's a necessary one because we know how much this Eagles team has struggled to find wide receivers over the past few years. Yeah. And it wasn't just, by the way, that screen that he housed. He also slipped past the DBs and got open on a deep ball downfield that Hurts missed him on, but again, shows that he has that elite game-breaking speed. I think this kid's got a shot of cracking the starting lineup. And if Reagor can, not drop the ball and sort of improve his route running, I think the combination of Devontae Smith, him, and Watkins, that's a lot of speed.
Yeah, and Eagles fans have been clamoring for wide receiver production for quite some time. There was another side of the quarterback equation last night, and that, of course, was Dwayne Haskins, the 2019 first-round pick who's vying to win the Steelers' backup job. Played pretty solid last night. Here's his head coach, Mike Tomlin, on Haskins' performance in the Battle of Pennsylvania.
No, we need to see more. We need to see more of him. We need to see more of everybody, man. We got 2 more preseason games, and we're going to continue to write our stories. I think if we continue to put the ball out there and let these guys play and try not to come to any quick conclusions, they will continue to definitively sort themselves out. And that's something that I'm challenging the staff on. Sure that we have enough evidence to start forming opinions, but boy, we got a lot of ball in front of us, and we just keep an open mind, keep teaching. They keep learning. We keep snapping the football. Decisions will become clear.
I love Mike Tomlin press conferences. That man calls it like he sees it. Marcus, I'll ask you this about Dwayne Haskins, as Mike Tomlin needs to see more. But do you think Haskins is solidifying his spot as potentially Big Ben's successor in Pittsburgh?
Absolutely, Phil. And the reason why is because Dwayne Haskins' talent has never been a question. His maturation and how he goes about his job was called into question. And listen, let me say this too, because Dwayne Haskins obviously had his run in, and Ron Rivera talked about his work ethic, questioning those things. But he wasn't drafted into an ideal situation either before Ron Rivera took over. It wasn't conducive to a young quarterback coming in and having success, especially when your head coach doesn't even want you there. So look, this is the perfect situation, perfect scenario. This is an opportunity for Dwayne Haskins, which I think he's taking full advantage of. And I like to see what last night did for me in regards to Dwayne Haskins was confirm that this dude can play at this level. And he has the type of talent that you need to have to play quarterback in the NFL. Now it's about what Mike Tomlin just said, more reps. I need to see more. Are you going to stay consistent about doing your job? Yeah. Look, man, they passing out $200 million checks for starting quarterbacks. I don't know what other motivation you need in order to turn yourself around and really show everybody what we thought you were coming out of college, the 50-touchdown guy out of Ohio State. Dwayne Haskins in a perfect situation. It's up to him to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a great point that Marcus made, because when you talk to people in the building, they're not surprised by what Haskins did last night. They look at him and they're like, yeah, he's an NFL starter. How he performed, not surprising. They also believe that he gets it now. And that to me was the biggest question. It's not, like Mark said, it's not talent. But looking at Haskins, I feel like this is a perfect situation for him. If he cannot make it in an organization that is built on winning, like the tradition within Pittsburgh, the type of head coach that Tomlin is, the fact that he's got Big Ben, that he can lean on, that he can ask questions, that he can watch. To go from Washington, which was a franchise before Ron Rivera got there that was in turmoil, that was known for dysfunction more than quality football play, to go from that organization to Pittsburgh. This is he's so lucky to be in this position that I hope he continues to absorb it and to take it and run, because this is a franchise that needs to figure out a succession plan after Big Ben, and he could be the answer.
And Phil, to that point, to Kim's point, this is one of the situations that of how it's supposed to play out in the NFL, right? You got a young guy who potentially has some maturity issues, that's taking time to develop into being a professional football player, and now he's...
All right, well, it looks like we were losing Marcus there, but it was about to be an absolutely electric point.
A really good point.
That was going to be...
Really good, really thunderous point, probably.
Man, when they reflect on the year that was in 2021 on NFL Live, they'll bring back that point right there. But how is it that Marcus still looks good in the middle of a freeze frame? Well, we'll take that as our cue to go and come back in just a few minutes, because we've got something important to talk about. With no preseason last year, it's been 602 days since Jordan Love took a snap in a real game. That was against Kent State. We'll tell you the biggest difference you will see in Jordan Love's debut. Plus, we'll get Marcus unfrozen. We've got a full weekend of preseason football. Here's a look at all 11 games on Saturday and Sunday, which includes the debut of Justin Fields and #1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars, of course. All right, so let's take a look at what the guys are keeping an eye on this weekend. Kimberly, let's start with you.
Oh, Fields. I am looking looking forward to the start of the Zach Wilson era. I did a SportsCenter feature on how the Jets are still looking after all these years for the next Joe Namath, and some bad practices recently has Jets Twitter buzz and a little nervous. I want everybody to step away from the panic button, get excited to see Zach Wilson in action.
Well, babyface, the first damn thing I'm looking forward to is my power not being knocked out by this thunderstorm. And after that, I'm looking for Justin Fields and see how much he grasps what Matt Nagy wants him to do. I believe this guy's going to be the starter week 1 out of the gate. He's shown up in practice. Lou Riddick reported that people are raving about him. I can't wait to see him in live action and how he runs and operates this offense.
So I got to go with the guy who's basically a de facto rookie quarterback, Jordan Love. I mean, it feels like we've spent the entire offseason waiting to see Love in action because the subtext of the whole Aaron Rodgers saga in Green Bay was that we haven't seen Jordan Love in action. So I'm excited to watch him play football in the NFL for the first time ever and to see how he looks, which, you know, it is it's a beautiful mystery to us right now.
He's like the man of mystery in the NFL, Mina. It's ridiculous. All right, so Kim, I will turn to you. What are you looking to see out of Jordan Love on Saturday, who, again, we haven't seen him play a football game in over 600 days?
That's the thing. That's what I need people to keep in mind. If you look up his stat sheet on NFL.com, there is no information because the man has not played. So within reason, you want to see him protect the football, and you just want to see some flashes. Remind everybody why Green Bay moved into the first round to draft you as a first rounder. Why, when they had Aaron Rodgers, did they see the future in you? That's all he has to do. Just be himself, be consistent, take care of the football, and he'll be all right.
Make a public service announcement because this is not about Jordan Love and how he performs for me. This is about telling the Green Bay Packers fans and the football world, don't put this kid under any added pressure and compare him to Aaron Rodgers. We all know the saga that went on this offseason, and we know Jordan Love was one of those guys that wasn't talked about, and it didn't seem to me that it was enough emphasis on his development as opposed to trying to get Aaron Rodgers back into camp. What you are absolutely right about what we want to see from Jordan Love. Remind us why Brian Gutekunst drafted you. Remind us why it wasn't stupid to have a succession plan to an aging quarterback, even if he's playing at a high level. And also, like for all of these young guys in real live game action, how do you manage what is going on the football field, right? That's what I loved about watching Mac Jones last night. He looked like he had been in the NFL before. That's what I hope to see from Justin Fields. That's what I saw from Dwayne Haskins. I want to see that from Jordan Love. Operate at a high level, pre-snap, post-snap, and if you can't make the throws, you can't play in this damn league anyway. But I want to see him operate things and be a professional quarterback and get guys lined up and in the right positions. This ain't Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay fans.
Well, Mina, it is certainly not Aaron Rodgers. What will be your biggest concern about Jordan Love? Again, I just can't imagine. I can't believe we actually get to see this man play.
I know, I'm excited. Well, I feel Marcus said we shouldn't compare Jordan Love to Aaron Rodgers, which is true. However, we should compare Green Bay Packers Jordan Love to Utah State Jordan Love, because what you want to see is growth. And the reservation that draft scouts had about him coming out of college was the decision making. It wasn't the arm talent, it wasn't the athleticism, it was those 17 interceptions. Now, those belong in context, which is that he was playing in a difficult situation at Utah State, a lot of turnover, not just amongst the players around him, but also the coaching staff. But he's had a year to sit on the bench and basically learn about football and study the game. So watching him in this first start, I don't want to see him making mistakes, throwing into coverage. I want to see him keeping basically avoiding turnovers and throwing it away if he has to. And if he does all of those things, I'll feel a lot better about him going forward.
Yeah, certainly a night that many Packers fans have been looking forward to see Jordan Love on the field. So the team on the other side of that game is the Houston Texans, who continue to deal with the Deshaun Watson investigation. Two women say they resent some of the tactics NFL investigators used in interviews with them regarding their contact with Watson. According to Sports Illustrated, Amy Solis said the investigators asked her what she was wearing when she worked with Watson, and they said it was a question they had to ask. Lauren Baxley told SI she thought the investigators were, quote, patronizing and victim blaming. 10 of the 22 women who filed suit against Watson have spoken with Lisa Friel and Jennifer Gaffney, who head up the NFL's special counsel for investigations. Kimberly, you reached out to the league for more. What response did you get?
Yeah, Field, I reached out to the NFL this afternoon, and essentially what I was told was there is no change in Watson's status. The investigation is still ongoing, and the league deems it a serious matter. But as of right now, nothing has changed. As you see here, the league statement, the NFL's review of the serious allegations against Deshaun Watson remains ongoing and active. We are working cooperatively with the Houston Police Department and ensuring that the NFL's inquiry does not interfere with their investigation.
Well, Kimberly, honestly,
as we continue to gather. No, just that this is the point that I do want to make, because a lot of people mention the commissioner's exempt list. Now, there is no change. The league says, as we continue to gather additional information and monitor the law enforcement developments, we will make appropriate decisions consistent with the collective bargaining agreement and the personal conduct policy, including whether the information supports placement on the commissioner's exempt list. At this time, there are no restrictions on Watson's participation in club activities. So nothing has changed right now, but there could be changes down the line. We will see if that happens.
Yeah, and reading the SI report that was released earlier today, this remains a deeply disturbing situation in Houston. Yes. We'll see what the next steps are in the Deshaun Watson case. Coming up next on NFL Live, Kyler Murray is back in action for the Cardinals, and they're scheduled to play tonight against Dallas. I should say he is. Will the Cowboys defense be able to hold off Kyler, or will Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler show us a hot Cardinals offense is ready to play?